All right, so you have Bernie Sanders, Ted Cruz, big victories last night in Wisconsin, and along comes the former Attorney General Eric Holder slamming the state, tweeting out that Arizona, now Wisconsin, ridiculously long lines, too few polling places, new voter ID laws, our democracy is being stolen, let people vote. Nika Kuntz agrees with the former Attorney General. Jonah Goldberg does not. Why not, Jonah?
Well, there was massive turnout in Wisconsin. More people voted in this primary, I think, than voted in the general election in 2012. It was record-setting in every way. So, yeah, there are going to be long lines. That doesn't mean that the vote was being suppressed. This is Holder essentially behaving not as the former Attorney General, but as a reliable partisan hack, which is what he was when he was Attorney General, too. So there
All
you
right,
go.
I'm going to put you down as a maybe on Holder. So, now, I mean, you heard that maybe with these long crowds, they were our imagination. What was going on?
The devil's in the details, Neil. It's not just about record turnout. It's when
it is about record turnout.
Hang on. But it's not under the law. Just because there's record turnout doesn't mean there's not voter suppression. I mean, you had in Arizona, they started calling the election when there was a 5-hour-long line out the door in Phoenix. And my grandmother was denied in that line, and she got very angry because she's voted in every Democratic primary since 1946. I have to make that point.
All right,
but
fair enough. So, Jonah, the argument then becomes, all right, have they shut down a number of polling places to force these long lines, to make people quit or get off the line? What?
Well, now, look, I mean, first of all, I find it sort of a fascinating way that liberals think that government runs everything well, except that sometimes they can screw up, elections.
Parties run primaries.
Local officials. The hysteria about voter ID, which is really what this is all about. Wisconsin passed a voter ID law. There were predictions it would suppress the vote. The very next election afterwards, turnout skyrocketed. More people voted. Almost basically every European country requires ID when you vote, but the Democratic Party likes to push this narrative that somehow this is this Orwellian, tyrannical infringement upon voting rights, and it's just not true. It's a lot of fear-mongering and nonsense. What about that point? He raised a very good point, that if what could make your case is if it really was suppressed, turnout was really compromised as a result. By all indications amongst the congressional districts seen last night, a lot of them were running out of ballots. A lot of them were crowded and staying late open, as they did in Arizona. So what's the deal?
Well, there was a situation, I mean, there were several situations like this, but just as an example, there was a 90-year-old woman who was born in Mississippi. She was an African-American woman who lives in Wisconsin now. She was turned away because she didn't have a voter ID. Why? Because she didn't have a birth certificate. Why? Because they only had white hospitals when she was born in the 20s.
Would you find that
South.
an exception?
Oh, I think there's several of these cases, and conveniently, it's the African-American vote
record turnout in this last day, right?
But Neil, think about this. There's a delicate dance here between parties and state legislatures, and when state legislatures are dominated by one party, and they're woring with that party to ensure that their legislatures. And it's only evil when Republicans are.
I don't know. I wish we had more time. Unfortunately, we don't. We don't. Now it's time for the 5 because
doesn't make any sense. Hello, I'm Greg Gutfeld with Kimberly Guilfoyle.